I'm Lauren Miller. Welcome to Journeys. If you have never seen a harbor porpoise, you've missed one of the smallest, most elusive, most mysterious whales in the sea, which could explain why you may never have seen one. That and the fact they're now on the World Wildlife Fund's threatened species list. Threatened because every year hundreds and hundreds are caught and killed in gill nets. This time on Journeys, I'm going to introduce you to marine biologist Andy Reid. He and his team of scientists at the Grand Manan Whale and Seabird Research Station have developed a program, unique in the world, where fishermen and scientists come together to rescue and release harbor porpoises. So now is your chance to catch a glimpse of one, and to understand why Andy Reid's work is vital to the survival of a species.
It's a great place to study harbor porpoises, and without somebody's help, well, all those porpoises are going to die. Nice job, Patrick.
The plight of the harbor porpoise has drawn Andy Reid to Canada's east coast for the past 16 years. But this summer has been slow. So slow, in fact, Andy's rescue team is recovering dinner, not porpoises.
See, little eyes?
No,
yeah,
really?
And little eyes, yeah.
Where?
These little dark things there.
They're not eyes.
They are too. They're looking at you. Lauren, this is the scallop. Hello.
Hurry, throw it back to the sea.
There you go. Let's put one back in.
Last year, Andy's team rescued 53 porpoises from drowning in fishing weirs. This year, none. For some reason, porpoises are hanging just offshore in the deep waters of the Bay of Fundy. So, for the moment, we have spare time to collect dinner while traveling from weir to weir on our search for trapped porpoises. It's quite a harvest. Like no other biologist I've met, Andy Reid willingly expresses a genuine affection for the animal he studies. The harbor porpoise's elusive, unique characteristics present an ongoing research challenge that he finds irresistible.
I think that there's something about being a little tiny animal in cold water in a big marine environment that draws my empathy to them. So they're extremely interesting animals to study. I just really like harbor porpoises. They're really cute little animals. They're extremely intriguing. Every time we learn something about them, they surprise us with their capabilities. The fact that they can dive so deeply or they can swim so far in such short distances, and yet they're really fragile little animals.
Oh, there he was! The rescue begins when Andy's team sights a porpoise trapped in a herring weir. And today, maybe because of that scallop thrown back to the sea for luck, we discover the first porpoise of the season. Porpoises follow herring into these weirs, and then they're trapped. When fishermen arrive to harvest their fish, the porpoise is in the way and is often shot or drowns.
So we really don't know whether, when they come in, when they chase herring in here, whether they stay because there's lots of food or because they stay because they're unable to find the way out. I mean, it seems pretty clear to us how to get out of this weir.
Yeah, it certainly does.
To an animal that's echolocating primarily and using its vision secondarily, it may just detect all these posts and not figure out that the gap there is really an opening. Most of the times, the mouth of the weir faces to shore, so a porpoise thinking about going out the mouth is thinking about going towards shore, which they may be unwilling to do.
Mm-hmm.
If he's in here when the seining process is going on, and the fishermen are concentrating on their fish, that's a really dangerous time for him, and he can often get tangled up in the net and die.
Mm-hmm. So what will you do now about this?
Right now there's no risk to him because there's no fish in the weir and the guys aren't going to come insane.
Right.
But if the weir fishes tonight and there's a lot of herring in it, we'll try, once they get their net circled around the herring and the porpoise, we'll try and get Patrick to grab the porpoise, put him in the boat, we take him outside, measure him, weigh him, take a blood sample, put a tag on him and let him go.
Oh, you don't want to see me eat this on camera.
Oh yeah, you do. Slide it down.
With no risk to the porpoise for the moment, I learn of the bounties of field work before the rescue operation begins. They don't get to eat.
They're not part of the show.
That's really sweet.
See, field work is hell.
Oh man.
Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Soon this weir will be filled with boats and nets and people and noise. The stress on the porpoise will be immense. His survival depends on cooperation between scientists and fishermen.
Andy come to me about 4 years ago now. He come to me with his program of saving the Harbor Porpoise. And we was all for it, because that way we had somebody there that could take care of the porpoise while we were seining, and that way everybody's happy. Most times when we had them in the weir, we seined them with our fish, because there was no one there really to help. We do what we could do, but a lot of times the porpoise wouldn't make it.
Fisherman Blaine Brown is not only cooperative, he's been known to jump into the water himself to save a porpoise from drowning. But not all fishermen are so enthusiastic. A weir full of fish is worth up to $50,000. So worrying about an incidental porpoise requires extra valuable time and effort. But Blaine Brown is of a rare breed.
So we stay just staying here right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can make
once we get in around your own anyway.
Just go over top the forks and
Easy. Tumlare, Yukita.
Standing by.
Yeah, Damon, is the porpoise over in your hook?
Yeah, I just decided. Yes, it is.
Okay, we got it over here. Thanks. So they're just starting to go around and let the seine net out now. And the end of the seine net's tied onto the stake here, the mouth stake. And they'll take the seine net all the way around the outside and they'll pound on the side of the boat. And they usually do that to drive the herring away from the side of the weir to make sure that the herring will end up inside the seine.
The rescue project seems the perfect setup. Porpoises escape the weir, fishermen harvest their fish, scientists get a live, steady subject. It's a model of cooperation unique in the world, where scientists and fishermen work together.
So tie on.
Yep, Patrick. The unusual thing about the weirs is that it allows us to go in and remove an animal while it's still alive. It's almost all other times when a porpoise will stumble into fishing gear, almost all of those other interactions will result in the death of the porpoise. And this is a really unique situation where we have the access to live animals so we can help get out alive safely. You can't help but be a little nervous when you're doing this because you know.
Could go one way or the other.
Yeah, so everybody gets a little nervous. You just have to try and stay calm and relax. Don over there, he's pretty calm and relaxed.
Yeah. You want us to put it there? I guess so.
And eventually what we'll do is we'll have the whole net here and this hook of the weir, and they'll start drawing it up into my dear boy, the seine boat. And we'll be sitting waiting on the outside of the corks. We can come this way a bit maybe, just a little touch. Patrick and Jamie will be in the water and hopefully one of them will be able to grab the animal.
Okay. Sponge ready. Can we wet this down?
Yep.
As the rescue team prepares an onboard lab, the fishermen slowly haul their net. Usually it's filled with tons of herring, but today, one solitary porpoise, increasingly stressed by the roar of motors and a contracting net.
Hi, little guy.
I wonder if the bubble.
Every time the porpoise surfaces to breathe, Alexia records the time. If more than 4 minutes lapse from the time of its last breath, the porpoise is in trouble. That's porpoise swearing
looking at us.
I'm not going on that boat.
No way. Stay away from there.
What can happen is that they can just get tangled up in the net fairly deep in the water and they can't get to the surface to breathe. Especially when the net billows and there are lots of folds in the net. A porpoise will sometimes try and get into a billow to try and get out. Sometimes a porpoise will panic towards the end of the seining. They are voluntary breathers. Once they lose consciousness, if they get really panicky and they lose consciousness, then they'll asphyxiate because they have to be awake to breathe.
Patrick try to herd him toward the boat?
No. Just let them do whatever they're going to do and don't chase them until we get the net really pursed up so there's no chance that they can do any.
But I wonder why he's over there. Is he trying to get him loose or something?
He's just swimming along the edge of the seine.
Oh, okay.
Right there he is. We got a porpoise.
Okay, we got
Patrick's.
it.
Okay, he's in the middle now. Hang on.
Back in. Did you just let him go?
Yeah, he's in the middle of the seine again.
Nuts.
He was just in a bag, so.
He's got blood in his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cut his nose a little bit.
That happened.
shoot. So we wait. Patrick, stay near the corks, maybe. Don't crowd him. He's happy in the middle, so. So who knows what the poor little guy's thinking while all this is going on? You know,
that's
funny divers and boats and noises and.
Yeah.
But it's a good saying. The net's straight up and down in the water, so there's no really bad billows. We can see anyway that he can get caught in. And
So you're saying at this point very little can go wrong?
no. No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, you're not saying that?
No, still things can go wrong.
What could go wrong?
He gets give up and sink to the bottom.
Andy, let the corks go along. Gotta go easy, Blaine.
Okay, he's in the net.
He's in the net,
He's
Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Got him. Look at him, buddy. He knows.
Yeah, he does. He got in from when he got in before.
Should be all right, though. Yeah, he's good now. Put a Band-Aid on it.
Once inside the boat, the porpoise can go into shock. The research team has a matter of moments to measure it, weigh it, draw blood, and tag it.
Thanks, guys.
So much. That was great.
Okay.
Piece of cake.
Good.
She's getting a little agitated.
All right. Tuck and roll. Oh, away from you. Little girl.
What kind of stress do you think the porpoise goes through when it's actually on the boat? It's been rescued, and then you plop it on a boat and do all kinds of things to it.
They've never been taken out of the water before. They have no idea what's happening to them. They're not able to support their weight in the water for the first time in their life, so they must be stressed. That's why we limit the time that they're out of the water. If we don't put them in our boat and take them out of the weir, then most of them are either going to get tangled up in the seine net or will stay in the weir for a long period of time and die. So there is no alternative. 6.5. She's great. She's being a very placid porpoise.
Do they jump around sometimes?
Sometimes. So what we're doing is just taking a little series of blood samples learned from the flukes, and we can use the blood for analysis of reproductive hormones to see whether she's mature or not. We can look at blood chemistry to see kind of values of different electrolytes she has, and also whitened blood counts to see whether she's got an infection. All the same kind of basic blood panels you take due to a human, and the techniques are all exactly the same as we use for people. So it's all really standard veterinary procedures.
She's getting a little
Okay,
agitated.
all right. Do you want to put the VHF on before we do this?
They die from stress?
They have, yeah, so you have to be really careful. You keep an eye on them, and okay, I can take the flukes now. All right. That's fine. It's good. So you just need to keep an eye, make sure they're responsive and they're breathing. That's why we're so concerned about how they are when they're in the boat. Easy, Rob. You need to go easy on the water. Okay, let's keep her upright. You're good where you are now. We work very hard to make sure that that stress is at a minimum, and we treat the animals with as much care and respect as we can. Easy, sweetie.
How long does the process usually take?
We'd like to have them back in the water in 10 or 15 minutes.
Right.
So we're just going to put a little analgesic, and what we're going to do is just put a tiny little hole in the trailing edge of our dorsal fin here. And probably the best analogy I can think of is it's just like having your ear pierced.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no major structures here in the trailing edge of the fin. It's just connective tissue. And but just to make sure it's not going to hurt as we do this, as we make this little hole, we'll give her a little anesthetic.
Right.
So.
With anesthetic now injected into the dorsal fin, the area is numb enough to drill a tiny hole to attach a radio tag.
Exactly, but she hadn't anticipated that she was going to get her ear pierced today.
Okay, I'm using tag 266, 148226, 266. So, need to know where to drill. Yeah, that looks good. She'll flinch a little here. So
Come back a bit, back a bit.
You got it.
Good. Yeah, okay, good. Easy.
I don't have the core, so it must have popped out.
These are the little green tags we usually put on porpoises to identify them. Just a different color and a different number for each animal so we can identify each individual. And this time we're going to put a little tiny radio transmitter, a VHF radio transmitter, on the tag, and that'll allow us to follow her after we release her. So you can hear, if you turn that up a little bit, you can hear the beeping. That's the tag beeping.
And how long do you follow her?
We'll follow her as long as we can. So, and this just trails back behind her, and she's just going to carry this with her for, like I say, maybe as short as a few days, maybe if we're lucky, a couple of weeks. So that'll allow us to see where she goes and who she hangs out with and what she's doing. And
I just want that.
So
you have to physically come out in a boat and follow her.
Exactly. So, and we just use really kind of standard radio tracking techniques, that the same techniques people use with wolves and bears, except it's more challenging with these guys because the only time you can get a surface is when it's a signal. It's when the animal's up at the surface.
Really?
So we have to be much better at radio tracking than the terrestrial guys. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes. Easy, sweet. Easy, sweet. Okay. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go, sweetheart. Well done, everybody.
What's in the water?
Well done, guys. Good work.
How is it that the harbor porpoise has come to the point of being a threatened species?
Too many porpoises killed in gill nets.
Solely.
It's the problem. The reason that Canada gives a threatened status to harbor porpoises is because too many porpoises are killed in gill nets every year. The reason that harbor porpoises have been proposed as a threatened species under the U.S. Endangered Species Act is because too many porpoises are killed in gill nets each year. It's nothing else. It's very simple, and that's the problem. We're not concerned about the impact of the weir fishery on the harbor porpoise population, but the thing we're really concerned about is what's happening to the porpoise population because of mortality in gill nets.
By collecting porpoises from weir nets, how do you then learn more information to translate to the gill net industry?
Well, we can learn about the diving behavior of the porpoises and understand more about what they're doing down on the seafloor that would lead them to get entangled in gill nets in the first place. We can obtain information on the movement patterns of animals to find areas of critical habitat that should be protected, maybe areas where we would not want to set gill nets. And allows us to demonstrate to managers and bureaucrats that the problem exists in both Canada and the US, and there needs to be a transboundary approach to solving the problem. So all those kinds of information that we can gain from looking at animals in weirs helps us in the bigger conservation problem that's really focused on mortality in gill nets.
The first successful porpoise rescue of the season warrants a celebration. Life at the Grand Manan Whale and Seabird Research Station revolves around working hard and eating well.
Basil, red pepper flakes, garlic, a little white wine, a lot of butter. It's basically everything you shouldn't eat. Come on, Lauren, come sit down and eat. Like hot things?
Oh yeah.
We've been very fortunate to have an exceptional group of biologists that come together each summer, spend a large part of their year here, work very hard for very little money, all of whom love being here doing this. And that is what really makes this work as well as it does.
No? Hot. You like
hot stuff?
A little bit on the side.
Just a little. It's not so hot. Just a little.
Just clear out your sinuses. It'll be good.
That's hot.
We like people who have a lot of field experience, who know animals really well, and aren't going to be traumatized when, you know, a little porpoise dies. People have to be pretty tough to deal with those kinds of things.
Members of my garden. They're a little dangerous.
Why would you even make anything like that?
Fisherman Blaine Brown is an important part of this celebration. He symbolizes the cooperative relationship Andy would like to see cultivated among all fishermen and scientists here.
The social group dynamic here is really critical. It's hard, you know, living with a bunch of people in a house in which the plumbing is kind of funky and there's one kitchen and one kitchen table and no living room and you sleep 3 or 4 to a room and you never know when you're going to get a phone call to go out to a weir or a dead whale's going to strand on the beach, or, you know, it's you just have to, people have to be able to roll with all those punches.
Shoot the Latvian, that's what I say. Take her head back, shoot her, that's it, it's all over, forget it. That's right.
Some animals there's just nothing you can do for, like this guy. He just made a mistake and panicked. I'm depressed now.
That's a drag.
Yeah.
The evening celebration is short-lived. An early morning rescue at a new weir has gone terribly wrong, and a porpoise named Binkley drowned. Andy and his team had worked with a new group of fishermen this morning, and somehow communication failed. Now they're about to make the best of a disheartening situation.
Whenever we have an animal like this that dies, we try and learn as much as we can from it.
So what do you think happened?
Seine was really quick. It was much too quick. And seine got tangled, and so we knew it wasn't a very good seine. As the seine came around, Binkley went down, and Heather's keeping track of the time, and as she goes, you know, 1 minute down, 2 minutes down, 3 minutes down, 4 minutes down, you know, porpoises to come up pretty quickly or it's not going to make it. 5 minutes down, 6 minutes down, and then that's when we know that there's no chance the animal's going to come up again. Not alive.
Temperature probes are inserted into the porpoise to measure how its body cools. This study will give Andy and his team invaluable data to tackle the real problem for porpoises, death by gill nets.
This tape is just to hold the probes in place.
So why is it important to understand the temperature as the body cools?
It's a gill net fishery here, and porpoises get tangled in the gill nets. And when the porpoises are brought on board, an observer will record the temperature, just the way we did it right there. And from that temperature and from the curve we can construct from observations of animals like this one, we can determine basically when the animal died. So whether it was closer to the hauling of the net or the setting of the net.
Why would that be important?
Because we need to know where in the fishing operation we need to modify the way fishermen work to reduce the risk that porpoises are going to get killed.
Okay, we want to lower it down.
Once the temperature probes are inserted and connected to a thermometer and a timing mechanism, Binkley is plunged into the water. For 48 hours, a computer will record his body temperature as it cools. Then he'll be raised for a necropsy.
Check this.
Ann wanted us to check it every hour.
Clearly, that's not going to happen. I think if we come out every 4 hours or 6 hours or something, that's fine.
So do we do him right away?
I think we should do them right away, not freeze them when we bring them up. So unless we're busy that day, then we can pop them in the freezer. Otherwise, I think we should just do the necropsy right away. It'll be fresh. We'll still be able to harvest a lot of tissues for histopath.
It's turning into a study that you didn't intend.
Yeah, but that's what we try and do is make sure that you never get caught with something you don't anticipate, so that we know that there's a possibility this will happen. So we're ready to take advantage of it. Well, that's not really the right term, but you know, we're ready to
make the best of it.
Make the best of it, exactly. And I'm sure it seems a little odd or cold-hearted to do this, but the best thing is just to make the most you can out of the animals that'll do the best for other animals.
Not a great way to start the season.
No, it's hard. There's a funny transition from going and looking at an animal in a live animal that you're hoping to be able to release to a dead animal, and there's a kind of an emotional transition that's difficult to make there sometimes, and that's hard. Some animals there's just nothing you can do for, like this guy. He just made a mistake and panicked and did the wrong thing. 15 and 3.
14 and 2.
14 and 2.
13 and 2.
13 and 2.
15 and 3.
15 and 3.
1.2.
For Andy Reid's
1.2.
research team, this method of studying harbor porpoises is far less fulfilling than a live rescue.
2.0.
But a necropsy will yield vital information about the porpoise's physiology.
1.8.
Every possible part of the porpoise will be examined and recorded, building an immense database of porpoise biology.
1.8.
Teeth, blubber, skin, contents of the stomach.
Right.
What else?
Take a whole bunch of tissues that are used for histopathology, looking at the structure of each of the organs to see whether or not there's any evidence of disease or infection. So we'll do that. We'll take the reproductive tissues to look at maturity.
How many necropsies have you
Have
done?
we done?
Oh.
I would say more than 500. Well, more than 500.
Yeah, if you count all those Smithsonian animals.
Probably between 500 and 1,000. I
Yeah.
don't know what would be up to now.
Based from here.
From here, we've done more than 500. And those are mostly animals that died in gill nets.
Yeah.
And for a long time, gill net fishermen would bring the carcasses into us and let us examine them.
Right, blubber.
Over what period of time then?
About a 10-year period.
500.
So it gives you an exam. I mean, when you see them like this and you think about all those animals that we've examined here, it gives you some indication of the scale of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, in the Gulf of Maine, every year, 1,500 or 2,000 animals get killed. And so that's why what we're doing has some urgency. That it's a major conservation problem for the species all over the northern hemisphere. What we want to do is we want to take off epaxial muscle, hypax, and then we'll want to strip the vertebral column and get a mass. So we'll have blubber mass, vertebral column mass, epaxial muscle mass, hypaxial muscle mass. One of the things we're trying to do is to establish what a healthy harbor porpoise looks like in terms of its components. And that's why we weigh the blubber to see how much the blubber weighs, what proportion of the total body mass is blubber. And then we also take the big long muscles here, which is what we refer to as the epaxial muscle. We've been comparing stranded sick animals with healthy animals like Binkley here to try and understand how animals use energy and what happens when an animal gets sick. So in the parts of the world where people eat dolphins and porpoises, and there are several, this is exactly what they'll do. They'll take this big steak, this big epaxial muscle off the back, and just doing a very good job. He could easily get a job in a Peruvian fish market.
I'm very slow at this.
No, you're not. You're doing a good job.
Bill would have had this off in 2 minutes.
So can do a sleep.
So it's the back of the skull there.
Oh yeah.
Lefty packs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that a scientific term?
Very technical term.
Oh, what
It's
is that?
something. What is that? What do you
that
think
liver?
that is? No.
Where are we? Oh, I'm backwards.
We're up in the thorax. So what is that going to
Sorry.
be?
Oh, it's a test, a trade test.
So
Well, it's not doing
is
very
this
well so
complete
far.
set, then?
Oh, it's up there.
I was hoping to learn from him, but it's like a true
What's up
teacher.
there in your thorax?
There's beer, lungs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we may as well.
Diaphragm here.
Look at the
Points
fish,
down.
Craig.
Fish.
I had to say something
You
fast.
said the fish.
I had to say
You
something
said the
fast.
fish.
Porpoise
That's it.
doesn't come
Cut,
out fast.
It's all over. She said the F word. She said the F word. She said the fish word.
I know it's a porpoise. I know it's a mammal.
Oh, you see?
Fish is fast.
You were doing so well there for a minute, and now I'm sorry.
I guess we have a rule here that if anyone ever calls it what you just
On the table,
called it,
Lauren. On the table.
bottle of single malt is
Yeah.
the penalty.
Oh,
That's right.
single malt. Oh, I can do that.
Good.
No worries.
It's either get on the table and we do this to you, or we get a bottle of single malt.
Single malt's my
You
vote.
decide.
And these are his testes. And what strikes you about that testis, Lauren?
It's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I talked about the fact that we could learn about the social behavior of these animals from their structure. This is nothing. His testes have shrunk down considerably from the size they would have been in the peak breeding season a couple of months ago. And that's what Alexia's studying now. She's looking at testicular structure and function. We think that the testes are so huge because males compete with each other, not aggressively, but they compete through their sperm. So many males will mate with a female and their sperm will try and displace each other. And the male that produces the most sperm and the most viable sperm is most likely to have his sperm fertilize the egg.
Right.
So they invest a tremendous amount of energy in their testes, in the development of these big testes and the metabolism of those testes. And that's how we think that they compete with each other.
Right.
Yes, 4% of their body weight is testis when they're
4% of your body weight?
So you can figure that out at home, what 4% of your body weight would be.
Just a tad uncomfortable for
That's
a
right. Jockeys would be right out. You'd have to go to boxers.
You'd have to go to an iron-based support system.
I don't. Patrick is the data sheet. Okay, can we do this with heart? Heart? Verify afterwards.
By the time the porpoise has been completely dissected, each researcher has taken samples specific to their particular field of study. Specimens are even taken for other researchers throughout Canada and the United States. All the samples collected contribute to the immense database they've developed to understand the physiology and the biology of the harbor porpoise.
Moderate. Sorry.
Holy shit!
Yes!
So
There's something right over there.
Yep.
2.
Perfect. Good spot. Jeez, hire that woman. So the tricky thing in doing the follows is to make sure that when they go down after a series of breaths like this, you can find them again, which we just did. That's good. But it's hard because they can travel a long way underwater in a couple of minutes. They're exceptionally difficult animals to study. You can't tell one from the other most of the time. You don't get to see very much of what they're doing. But that's also part of the subtle charm, you know. You see a porpoise at the surface and then it's gone for 2 or 3 minutes. And what's it doing down there, you know? And it's like, why are they bother going down and feeding at the bottom? How do they manage to swim from here to Cape Cod in a few days? You know, and the challenge in studying them is part of the beauty of the whole situation here. Emotionally too. I mean, I have a really big investment in these animals, and on an intellectual side and a scientific side, but also I love to be out on calm days watching porpoises do their thing, and I just find them to be really intriguing little creatures. Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Follow the east a little bit. We just come by. There was a big fin back, and there almost been 30 or 40 legs.
You're a good man, Ken. You're a good man.
Take care. See you when we get back.
Okie dokie. So there's a fin whale and 30 or 40 white-sided dolphins here somewhere.
James!
See him? Look at that. Whoa! Right across the bow. Where do they go? Oh, this fin whale. They're all around that fin whale right there.
Oh,
good
yes!
jump. Hi, guys. Look at that, right in the bow. See him underwater? They're so pretty. Look at this guy underwater coming right alongside us here. Hi, buddy. Nice notch on that guy, eh?
Our peaceful porpoise watch is suddenly transformed by a pod of Atlantic white-sided dolphins. The vivid contrast in the behavior of the two species makes Andy's challenge crystal clear. Yeah, right there. The playful dolphins make harbor porpoises look even more elusive and mysterious.
Holy shit!
Yes! Look at that! Woo!
I thought I wondered if it was bubbles.
Woo! Jeez. Patrick, you gotta tell us when you're gonna pass over top of a fin whale. It's not nice to surprise us like that.
I thought it was bubbles. Sorry.
Wow, that was pretty special. Oh, there'll be bitterness at the research station now. That's the second closest I've ever been to a fin whale.
As the dolphins disappear from view, Andy's attention returns to his preferred porpoises. A baby is trapped in a fishing weir called the Iron Lady. Because of the weekend, no one has fished for 2 days. But now at low tide, the fishing boats will be here any moment. Andy checks whether the baby is still alive before another rescue begins. Oh God, look at how small it is.
It's really tiny. It's really tiny. Hi, little one. Hi, little one. So the bad thing is, though, that the calf may not eat in there. So.
And how long can it survive?
Start getting into trouble in a couple of days. Pretty big trouble, I would think, in a couple of days. They're not very big. They just don't have that much energy stored. Although their blubber's thick, they need that thick blubber to stay warm because they're so small.
How long has it been in the weir now?
For about 36 hours. A long time for the little one not to have anything to eat.
And something that young is nursing, probably, right?
Definitely.
So you're not very optimistic.
No, it's a pretty dicey thing to get a little tiny one like that out when its mom's not there. It just doesn't know what to do around nets or people, or it's hungry. It's probably getting a little weak now, and so I would say its chances are not great, unfortunately. There's Mom right there.
Oh,
right
man.
close. Wow, that's pretty amazing. She's a ballsy mom.
500 meters from the weir, Mom has kept a 36-hour vigil. No telling when she'll give up, but if she's not here when the calf is rescued, the baby stands no chance.
If you can grab him, Jill, just hold him. You just put him on right in your lap. We'll be over to get him. So this little one, the sooner we can put our diver in, the better. So just let us know when. Yeah? Okay, good. Go at any time. Tim Laurie, Yukita.
I would just go up to it slowly, maybe you just pick it right up. Corner it in against yesterday.
Any luck?
That's the negative.
Try it.
Okie dokie.
We'll let you know if we find anything.
Yeah, I knew you would. We just had the radio in the cooler for a bit, so.
There she is right there.
You found her?
Yeah,
Mom?
Yeah.
Where?
She's at, relative to me, she's at 1 o'clock at about 100 meters. Backside of the weir.
Tim Laurie, this is Yukita. We've got visual on the mom at, she would be off your starboard bow.
2 o'clock
at
from
about
there.
2 o'clock, maybe a couple hundred meters towards the weir.
But they should probably just stand by because they'll spook her.
Right.
Okay, we'll slowly move over there and try to keep tabs on her.
How often is he surfacing, Heather?
He's about a minute or half a minute.
Let's go ahead and get in. You want to go in behind him?
Not really, not now. It's surfacing right in front of the same boat.
You think Patrick could grab it? Go for it, Patrick.
If you want, I can go inside.
Yeah, I'd rather be inside.
So we can sit behind. Yes.
It's just quicker. It means if they can bring it to us, it's one less transfer. If they get the kid early. Rather than have us try and get in there if they grab the animal. Okay, gonna have to watch. We're gonna have to come under some lines.
It fascinates me how much relationships and relationship building is such a big part of science. I mean, you're not just here studying, marine mammals. You have to get involved with the community and understand the community and have them understand you.
That's really hard. We spend a lot of time trying to do that. We've made a lot of mistakes, in the past, we try really hard to make sure that the guys we work with understand what we're doing, and we try very hard to understand what they're doing. And still, we come from different worlds in little ways, and it's a lot of work to make each other understand it. And it's an insular community. It's an island, and they're extremely friendly people. They're wonderful people, but at the same time, there are barriers to understanding, and it takes a while to break those barriers down. Jamie, maybe stay to the side, you think, please? Thanks.
Julie, if he comes within arm's length, grab him.
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a better scene. He's up.
6.5.
Good seeing.
Excellent. Same. Where?
Oh, yes. Oh, good.
Do we have a bucket of water?
Yeah, bucket's already out. You might want to splash a little bit just on that. Kid's right here. Come on, little one. Do we have 2 Rototag pliers?
Oh, Julie, so close.
Do we need 2?
Well, I just to have both of them set up, so we don't have to bother loading it, because it might be a little frenzied. How's he doing?
Longer dives. Fish are coming up. Looks like it's mainly mackerel.
Yeah, it does. We're drifting over.
Worst case, we could always dump them outside the ribbon. If you can grab them, Jewel, just hold them. You just put them out right in your lap. We'll be over to get them.
Of course, he's not going to let you do that.
I bet it'll be one of those wait till the last second grabs. Is there a bag over there?
Yeah, he's...
Damn.
Is he in?
Yep. He's in that net right there.
You got him?
He's got him.
1608.46.
What a boy, Patrick. Okay.
Patrick.
Tumlara, Yukita.
Larry standing by.
Yeah, Patrick's got them all swimming them over right now, so we're going to be on our way out. Do you have the mom?
Last time we saw her was over near the buoy.
Okie dokie, we'll head out to the buoy then. Keep your eyes peeled. We should be out in a couple minutes.
Okay, before I haul him in, I'm going to make sure he takes a good grab.
All right. He's breathing. He's all right.
Steady.
Excellent job.
Breathing?
Breathing the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Come on.
Oh, look at the sizes.
You have to take it a breath.
Okay. Come on.
He was breathing as Patrick carried him over.
Okay, you go and I'll do this. Okay, I'm gonna roll. Patrick, can you deal with butt lines? Easy, little one. Okay, easy. Okay. Okay, no more water on the dorsal fin for a sec.
Pardon me?
No more water on the dorsal fin. Sloughing skin a lot. Okay, it's green high 52. Okay. Easy, little one.
Where did they say mom was?
Ah, shit. Go to the buoy.
Very good.
It's bigger than he looked. It's 89.5.
It's very good.
Someone get on the radio and ask Steve.
I already did. They said go to the buoy. That's the last time I saw him. Girth is 60.5. Okay. Still got fetal folds. See the fetal folds? Here and here. Here.
How is
They're, he's not curved. He's all fine. So, but he's got really nice fetal folds. See, look at them all here. Here, here, here. Easy, little one. Okay, as soon as we stopped. Shit.
What?
Rattling. Easy. Okay, let's just stop. Patrick in the water.
It's all right.
Just I don't want him in the air any longer than he has to be. Okay, Patrick.
It's right here.
Come on the other side.
Go on the other side. There. Was that a breath?
A very good one. Okay, little one. All right.
Okay.
Okay, hold on to him. Okay. Stop. Make sure he gets good breath. Okay. Try and put his blowhole down a little bit. Okay. Okay. Get a big weight coming. Okay. Okay. Just keep holding on to him. Keep his head under so he can act, so he can vocalize, so his mom will come over. Okay. Come on, Mom. Come on, baby.
There's Mom.
I don't see Mom. Where is she?
Just about 10 degrees off the bow of the Pat and Robbie.
Okay, let him go. Tim, Laura, Yukita, we just released the calf, headed your way. Let's keep our eyes peeled.
Okay, we'll be watching.
Just surface there.
Okay. To the right, there's the
Pad.
kid. There's the mom.
Excellent.
All right.
Nice job, guys.
I think I saw something further out there.
Hi, Damon.
Excellent job, Patrick. Oh boy, still had fetal folds, still umbilicus was still mostly
That's it.
open.
Strong.
Yeah, he was a strong little guy, wasn't he? He's a little.
Wasn't really that
That was
thin
beautiful.
either.
He's a little necky, but not too bad.
Pretty good.
Do you have enough gas?
We got lots of gas. It's a fine-looking craft.
Exciting.
Excellent. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. Time for a whiskey.
Or 8.
Yeah, that went really well.
Get any sweeter than that.
You have said clearly that it's the gill net industry that's the problem that's caused porpoises to be in the situation they're in, not weir fishing. And you're releasing the porpoises from weirs. Is it more for learning about them and studying the science than actual conservation?
It's a conservation success story because it's not very often that fishermen and scientists work together. We're not saving all the animals that are being killed in gill nets, but we're learning a lot about what leads porpoises to get into gill nets in the first place.
Let's say thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
That went beautifully, Herb. Thank you very much. Yeah, finest kind.
Join the mother?
Yep.
I really think that one of the big successes here, though, is that we can actually work with fishermen, and that changes attitudes on both sides. You know, it makes us more cognizant of what it's like to be a fisherman. And they understand a little bit more about what it's like for us on the other side of the fence, because we're in the weir together. You know, we all jumped in the water to grab a porpoise, and we've all seen seines go bad and porpoises die, and we've seen guys do, you know, lots of good things to save animals. And together, you have a common goal. I think that's a real success story.